Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We're going to dive right into your reading. This reading we're going to touch on the new moon in Cancer and what are the issues and effects around the new moon in Cancer for Pisces. All right, so let's look and see. What are the issues and effects of the new moon in Cancer for Pisces, please, Spirit? The issues and effects of the new moon in Cancer for Pisces, please, Spirit. Okay. Okay, wow. All right, Pisces. You have the new moon in Gemini, communication is key. You have the fixed moon, hold your vision. You have the new moon in Scorpio, work through your fears. And you have conclusions are within reach, the full moon eclipse. Pisces, this card on the bottom of the deck, the new moon in Gemini, which was, a month ago, 28 days ago. It's communication is key. It's like there's almost some kind of unfinished conversation that's picking back up, or it's like I'm feeling something about the time period around the new moon in Gemini and the time period around the new moon in Cancer, where it feels like something that was left sort of dangling or unfinished is coming up for completion, or for it, the conclusion is now within reach. Like the rest of the story is about to be revealed or is coming around. It's something like that is giving me the vibe. That's not going to be for everyone, but that is for definitely, I am getting at least a handful of you. And it's a very clear, strong message. It's almost like we're in the middle of a conversation and it just ends. And then I keep expecting, well, when is it gonna finish? And it never finishes. It's coming back up for to be like someone. There was a reason, or there was something else behind it. I think you intuitively knew that. I feel like it's coming back up for discussion here. May have been someone from your past that popped in to get like a temperature read or to see if you would respond to them. And then they sat with that, thinking about what to do with that, whatever your response was. And now it's like they're ready to finally say what it is they need to say, or what they wanted to say, or what was really behind whatever that was, if that makes sense. That's for some of you. And I'm getting it's really important to be clear and to really listen to what this person is saying, what the intention is behind what they're saying. It's like this person is struggling with bravery, all right? I mean, it's like they don't really want to put all their chips on the table, and it's like they've been sort of avoiding something or dealing with something or saying something or really having a conversation. And so it's like if you let them get out of it, they're gonna take that opportunity and run. So it's almost like be quiet and just listen to what they have to say. I feel like almost intuitively you know that, though. It's like just kind of let it hang there for an extra second, like let them get it all out. I'm getting like the wringing out of a washcloth, or this is gonna sound absolutely bizarre, but I make a cheese ball and it has crushed pineapple in it, and you really have to get all the juice out of the pineapple, otherwise the cheese ball is runny. And it's like showing me the energy of like really making sure all of the juice is out of the pineapple. So you take it and it requires patience, which as the Libra, I don't have much of. So I don't know, take it as it resonates, but it's just sort of like, it'll be worth it. Like, the result will be better. The result will be what you want if you let it completely unfold. If you let this person get away with something superficial, then it's like setting off kind of on the wrong foot. Or I don't want to say the wrong foot, but it's like not the deepest foot. Or not the truest foot, you know? Like, in order for this person to be authentic, it's like they need a lot of space. They need a lot of, like, how, you know, wondering how you're taking it. Like, I think your instinct will be to rush in and comfort someone, or to put someone's fear aside. But maybe here, it's like the fear isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. Take it as it resonates, you guys. Yeah, but listen deeply for like the intention, or for what they're really saying, and if something is missing. Like, yeah, I'm just getting cups energy, feelings. Like, are they willing to put their feelings out there? You know, are they willing to go beyond, like, I've missed you, I'm my best when I'm with you, you make me very happy, you know, or are they really saying, you know, I actually truly care about you, and I can't stand not knowing how you're doing, or what you're up to, or what, you know, whatever it is. I don't know, if you got home safe, whatever. I don't know why I just threw that in there. It's interesting because this work through your fears, that space, that energy, that openness, that letting someone come to you completely. One, there is the fear on your side that they won't, because they haven't in the past especially. And two, it's their fears that they're working through. Like, they're in real time as they're having this conversation to you, as you're giving them space. They're working through their fears to communicate. And the more space you give them, the more fear they will move through, and the more they'll be standing in a space of honesty, which will then become the platform for the growth. All right. That felt more like a general message. All right, let me see. So heavy emphasis on the time period right now through like the middle end of October. Something is going to be transforming or changing during that period of time. Okay. Wow. This is a lot about authenticity. This person needing to come into their authenticity. I feel they were kind of far away from it when you met them, when you came across them. They were definitely wearing a mask. You know, it's like, I'm looking at this, right? This energy, like, she's dressed nicely. The mask is nice. Like, you could just accept this as, oh, this is someone dressed up to go somewhere. You know what I mean? But they're nice, you know, they take care of themselves. They, you know, put a lot of effort into their appearance or the first impression or whatever. And then you could kind of forget that they're actually wearing a mask, and that there's a whole lot that you're not getting access to that could tell you a whole lot about this person. And that can work two ways, right? Because, you know, if your intentions are honest and you have feelings, then if you're not wearing a mask, it's like someone's going to be really attracted to that, right? And they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you're wearing a mask because you feel you need to protect yourself, and then there's something that happens that makes this person question what your intentions are, because you're wearing a mask, because they're not able to see the whole story, they're probably going to be more inclined to let their mind wander to what's under the mask, and to if what's under the mask may support what they're seeing or the worst case scenario. Do you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, it almost feels like this person was wearing a mask in order to protect themselves. But I think it worked against them because there's something here where pressure was mounting on this person. This could be because they were developing feelings. This could be something totally unrelated. This feels like work to me, or it feels like responsibilities to me. So more so than feelings. But sometimes, so a lot of times we think that our thoughts drive our feelings, but it's actually the opposite. Like, they've actually done studies about this where our feelings generate our thoughts. And so if we're feeling something that's uncomfortable, then our thinking mind goes to what outside ourselves, what circumstance, what situation outside ourselves is generating those feelings, and how can we change something outside ourselves to fix what's happening inside ourselves, instead of realizing that something that's happening inside ourselves needs to be fixed inside ourselves. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what it feels like, this energy. It's like there is mounting responsibility. It's causing all kinds of feelings within this person. They're feeling really under pressure. They're getting kind of anxious. They're feeling like they're up against a deadline, like they're kind of being forced to make decisions. Maybe they don't feel prepared to make those decisions. Maybe they feel like they don't have all the information to make those decisions. Maybe it's just a lot of decisions and this person doesn't like to make decisions. But it feels like there's some kind of climactic energy that's coming here. It's like something is happening where it's like, I have to make a decision by this point, or, it's almost like my lease is up. Where am I going to move? My contract with my job is up. Where am I going to go work? It feels, or like maybe my bills are due and I'm really running short on cash, or, I don't know. It feels like those kinds of things. And it's like, this person's like, man, it would just be easier if I just didn't have to be so responsible, or if I just didn't have so many responsibilities. Like, if I just, acted out of character for me. Do you know what I'm saying? And because this person sort of knows who they are, this thuggish behavior, or this like, kind of choosing wrong, or I don't want to say choosing wrong, but just choosing, it almost feels like the easy way out, or it's like there's something they can change outside themselves, and that may have been this connection. And they may not have normally like behaved this way, or this may be slightly out of character, or they may have even, like, the things that they said may have felt very out of character, or even, how do I even want to say this? It's like, they're not proud of it, and I don't think they were proud of it then. I think it was a result of feeling like they were in a pressure cooker and needing to let off steam. And it may have been that it just sort of came out on you, or came out in a decision related to you, or maybe you were the straw that broke the camel's back. You were the decision that they felt like shouldn't really have a deadline, or should be more understanding of where they were at or what they were going through. But again, you hear how many times I'm saying should right there. And shoulding is not kind, right? It's not kind to should on people, and you shouldn't should on yourself either. All right, it's just not cool. And so it's like, it's almost like this is the result of this, It's like, if I can just get rid of some of this pressure, then I'll feel better. And so this is a result. And it's like, I don't think this person expected the reaction that they got, because it's almost like they know that they're a nice person or a good person or something like that. That this is like sort of out of character, and that maybe they were hoping that you would understand that they were under so much pressure that now was not a good time, and that if you ask now or put pressure now, you're going to get an answer you don't want. But instead, it's like you were like, oh, I think maybe I could have been wrong about you, or maybe I could have made assumptions about you, or maybe I was being Piscean and looking through my rose-colored glasses and I wasn't seeing your true colors. Do you see what I'm saying? And this person really gave you an impression that, what you had sort of overlooked was actually maybe a red flag, or was that this behavior was maybe more consistent with who they were than you realized. When you're putting your heart on the line and you don't feel like you're asking for too much, and you're, there's this energy of, I don't deserve to be treated that way. And it's true, right? Like, you don't deserve to have them take all of their crap out on you, or to be the thing that can give where the other things in their life can't give, maybe, whatever it is. And so it's almost like a misunderstanding, but it's also like a wires get crossed here, or it's also like, I kind of feel like this person is starting to realize, like they're looking back, and in hindsight, they're realizing that your heart was on the line. You were looking to them for reassurance, and what they gave you was this. And they expected you to understand that who they were, this was a byproduct of where they were at, and that they didn't use their words to express their true feelings, or to be authentic, or to say, listen, I'm having a really hard time right now. I know you deserve an answer on this, but I feel like if, like right now in my life, like I have so many things that are happening, that the answer I'm going to give isn't going to be the one that I really want to give you. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like they were not honest. Instead, they behaved badly, and they expected you to like make a whole bunch of inferences and assumptions, and read their mind, and understand where they were coming from, and not take it the way that you took it. And do you know what I'm saying? But I feel like from your perspective, it's like, well, how else could I take it? And this person, they were afraid to be vulnerable. They were afraid to be authentic. They weren't willing to tell you what they were really going through in relation to whatever it was that you were trying to understand or feel out or sense out. And then it was like, you were looking and you're like, well, you haven't revealed other things to me also. Or like, maybe I don't know you that well. Maybe this is who you are, maybe you are kind of a jerk, like, I don't know. So take it as it resonates. It's very nuancy, and the impression that you could have gotten could be a lot of different things, but it was almost like this person rebelling against the responsibility or the pressure that they felt. However that came out. Then I feel like this person, we have this getting readings card, which for me is kind of just an energy of, it can be that they were getting readings, but for a lot of them, I don't feel like that's what it is. I feel like they have spent a lot of time processing this and looking back over it and trying to get insight. They may have even like talked to several friends, or sort of like gotten other perspectives. And I'm not 100% sure how. Like, I could see somebody Googling like the entire situation, like dated 3 months, asked for commitment, didn't give it, impression they have, you know, or response this, you know, like whatever. I have no idea. Or even asking ChatGPT, like you know, I see like really like putting in as much detail as they can, or like driving down the street and even coming up with another idea of something that they could look into, or something that might give them further insight. This has been, I feel like, a long time in the process, even, or it's something that may have been driving them crazy, like just feeling like they really didn't want to lose you, you know, and they, you know, and I think for a while, even after this happened, whatever this was that happened, it feels like they were going through a lot. It feels like a tower moment in their life, you know, where it's just like, it almost feels like everything is kind of falling apart because it needed to for whatever they're building now moving forward. And I think you may have been part of the catalyst of it toppling, which ultimately really is a gift. But I do feel this energy of them kind of wanting to come back and sort of, I feel like it's like they know they gave you the wrong impression, or they know they gave you an impression of someone who really didn't care, or who just, it was the wrong impression. It wasn't really who they were. And it's because they were wearing this mask. Like if they hadn't been wearing a mask and they had been authentic up until that point, you really would have known who they were, and you would have understood. You would have known. But because they started off protecting themselves, and they never really stopped protecting themselves, they never really fully stepped into their authenticity, you had no choice but to like kind of take it the way that you did, as how I feel. And so it's like they want to come back and sort of make it up to you and really show you who they are. They want to let you in so that you understand that it wasn't what it seemed. It was this energy surrounding this behavior that caused the behavior. It wasn't that that's who they really truly are. They know they hurt you. You know, they know that they know that your disengagement, your falling away from them, from their energy, is because of what they did. You have this divine intervention, which I literally was like talking about the tower energy, and you can see it there. There's this energy of sort of it is like kind of like looking back on it all and sort of seeing what led to it, kind of analyzing it and going, oh, that's how I blew it up. That's how it all fell apart. You know, that's how it came undone. You know, like we do after accidents, or after things happen. It's like, you know, it gets our attention, and then it makes us go, okay, how did this happen? We need to analyze it. We need to figure it out. And that's what I see this person really doing. they are really mourning the loss here. They are really feeling your absence. I don't think a day goes by where they're not like, man, if Pisces were here, we could be, you know, out on the beach, or we could be taking a vacation, or we could be, you know, just hanging out, whatever. I wouldn't be alone. I wouldn't be lonely kind of energy. And it's like, it feels like right as I even think that this person was actually realizing that they like were developing feelings here, and that they were starting to kind of be on the line in this relationship, or maybe more vulnerable than they ever really intended to allow themselves to be when this happened. I think it did contribute, the feelings that they were having contributed to this energy of being kind of anxious or overwhelmed, or they just had a lot going on. And it feels like this was something that was good, but it was also scary. And because their head was so full of other things, it feels as though they couldn't just like settle into the sweetness of it. They couldn't just sort of accept it, fall into it, pursue it, cherish it, take care of it, cuddle it, I don't know, kind of energy. It's like they couldn't relax enough to do that. They had so many things out in front of them, and they were so confused about the answers to all of these questions, or why all of this was kicking up at once, or maybe even like how it got so sort of out of control. You know, I feel the autonomy card is on the bottom of the deck, and this is just, it's giving me this feeling of possibly even some of these things may have been placed on them by other people, where they, you know, struggle to have healthy boundaries with people in their life, or they may have taken on the burdens of other people at times as well. And part of the lesson of this divine intervention was for them to learn how to like prioritize, or to keep their energy to themselves until they had been fully cared for and had all their ducks in a row, instead of kind of allowing other people to pull on their energy and make requests of them when they really didn't have it to give. Because what they did is they sort of blew their own life up. I have a really good friend who's a comedian, and she's really funny. And whenever like you call her and you need to vent, or you're having a really hard day, or you're fed up, or you're anxious, or you have something going on, the first thing she says to you is, well, whatever you do, just don't make it worse. And it's so funny. It makes you laugh. Like, her delivery is hilarious also. But it like, it's giving me that vibe. And then like this person like made it worse, which is like kind of, a lot of us do that, you know, that's human nature. It's like we get so swept up in the negativity, or we get so swept up in the feeling of not being in control, that we feel out of control, and then we're really contributing that energy and bringing that energy to everything that we do, and that's how we tend to make it worse. You know what I mean? It's like you're running late, and then you spill your coffee, and then you get a flat tire, and then you accidentally hit a car in the parking lot, and then you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like this chain of events. And that's why they say, you know, if you can rein it in and stop the spillage of that kind of energy into your life, like if you can pull that energy in and you can look at it, you know, I don't know if you guys know, like, it's something that I learned in creative writing actually, but you know, if you take a piece of paper and you put what you're feeling in the middle of it, like confused, okay, and then you put a circle around it, and then you do lines out from the circle, and you put all the things that are confusing you, and you circle them, and then you do any offshoots of those things, right? And you get it all out on a piece of paper. And then you look at it and you look at what are the things that I can take an actionable step toward fixing it. You know, or I'm sad, or I'm depressed, or it works for everything. At least, I don't know. I find that it's extremely helpful. I'm not going to say that it's a panacea and it cures everything that's ever going to ail you, but it is something that can help release the load. Whenever you can get it out in front of you and just look at it and then start to feel like you're chipping away at it instead of letting it consume you and take over your life, and spill and kind of like make it worse, you're taking your power back. You're empowering yourself to be the change and to fix the thing, and to, instead of saying I'm so confused, say I'm on the road to recovery. You know, I'm making this work for myself. I'm finding the gift in the moment. You know, you tend to really do like an abrupt, 180 when you do things like that. And I just want to say to this person, just write it all down, you know what I mean? And look at it, because I think if they did, they would see that like not even all the things that are showing up here are their own. And so the first thing we can do is, well, we'll eliminate other people's problems. We'll eliminate the pressure other people are putting on us by putting up a boundary and saying, I'm sorry, look, I've got a lot going on myself right now and I can't take this on. You know what I mean? So anyway, I do think that this person was overwhelmed, not just from their own life, but potentially pressures and kind of like asks that other people were making of them. I think that you were on the precipice of some kind of really beautiful beginning, and I think this person really knows that, and I think when they look back, they keep seeing it, and they feel that it's so unfortunate that the timing was what it was, that really beautiful opportunity was happening kind of as these other things were unfolding, or as this was, becoming overwhelming for them. And I feel like that is a really tough pill for them to swallow. I think the other really tough pill for them to swallow is that they don't think you have the right idea about them, that they're over there really feeling like crap about the situation, and you may appear to be moving on. And it may seem to them that like the only way you're capable of that is to not really know who they are, or that, you have sort of somehow told yourself it wasn't real, or that all they wanted was a booty call, or, like you're, and they don't want the entire connection to be cheapened. And they also don't want you going on to eternity with the wrong impression or wrong idea of them in your mind and heart. They want to be, they want you to see them more, I think, authentically. And it is a struggle for them, because I don't think it's something that they normally practice. I think they are sort of the person that's like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got it. I can handle it. I got big shoulders. I can carry the world on my back. You know what I mean? Like, I can handle it. And I just feel like they don't think you have the right impression. It's bothering them. I keep getting that. Okay, so you have synchronicity here. I feel like this person is also like, I think they may have either asked for a sign, they may be praying, or they may be spiritual, and they may be asking for signs and then always getting them, which is letting them know that like, that they need to fix this. They need to do something. Like there's something here that has yet to be figured out, or to be yet to be done, or it is worth kind of trying to clear this up, or to see if there is any possibility that anything could continue to happen here, or could unfold additionally, if we could get back to that space of the new beginning. Let's dive into the tarot, shall we? We're using a fun deck today, the Pulp Tarot, I think it's called. Oh, geez. See, this person is not, they're not revealing to you. Man, they haven't revealed to you that you know, they really do see you as a good, solid partner for them. You know, they really do see you as a soulmate and as someone who they can have a healing, healthy connection with. And I think this is something that is very unusual for this person. I think that for the most part, they deal with people who need them for something, or who, you know, see them as stability or strength, or someone who can handle it, or someone who can take care of it, or, you know. And it's like, I think for you, it's like you're bringing something to the table. They don't have to be this person with you. You know, you're impressed with these small gestures and these the sweetness of it. Another image, by the way, guys, of someone watching a structure burn. And it does feel like this person is now almost actively setting fire to the parts of their life that don't work with this relationship. It's almost like this person is almost angry at all the things that were creating this confusion in their life, that made it so they destroyed the sweetest thing in their life. I keep hearing that song. I think it's U2, The Sweetest Thing. The Sweetest Thing. Oh, the sweetest thing. I don't know. Okay, anyway, it's like, this was mine. This was all mine. This was the first thing that I had that was like this. This was sweet and soft, and it smelled good. And it was awakening some part of me that had never been paid attention to before. And because of this, you know, I lost it. And, you know, they blame themselves, yes, but they are looking at all the things that they had sort of taken on as their own responsibility. They're starting to stretch out into this energy of autonomy, where it's like, look at this. I didn't even look at this. Look at what is under here. Such confirmation. This says chaotic. Their mind was just this. You felt like a dream to this person. It was the sweetest thing. It was soft and it smelled good. I just keep getting that. And it felt like it was theirs and it was for them, and they never had that before. And it's like they were into it. When you were in front of their face, they were like captured or captivated or something. But when you were gone, it's like they were left there realizing why it was so captivating. You know, like what they were actually given an opportunity at, and all the things that they had allowed to persist in their life that made it so they couldn't see it, or they couldn't appreciate it, or they couldn't show up for it. And with the moon, again, we're talking about not revealing our true self, not revealing our authenticity, not revealing how much this mattered to them. And I think, you know, part of it was they didn't really realize it at the time. I mean, they did, but they did in a real time kind of way of like, oh, I'm really enjoying myself, or, oh, I can't wait to hear from Pisces, or, oh, Pisces text me, you know, like smile on the face, happy, whatever, that kind of energy. But like, as far as like really understanding what the opportunity was in front of them, I don't think they were even thinking on that term. I also think they were distracted, you know, by deadlines, decisions, people, responsibilities, you know, all these things. Something had to change, and they're realizing that now. They're realizing now that this really did happen for them, and that it was high time that they be beholden only unto themselves, and that they not take on so much of other people's responsibilities, and that they put themselves first, and that they really did matter, and that what they wanted and what they needed might have been the most important thing in their life instead of like 10th on the list. You know what I mean? It was high time that this changed. And with the moon here, it's like, and this can also be the unveiling of a subconscious way of thinking, where, you know, we can be raised to sort of put our own needs aside a lot. And, you know, we think of this mainly in terms of women, right? Where, you know, we're supposed to be seen and not heard, and, you know, we're supposed to serve other people. We're supposed to make other people comfortable. We're supposed to spend our life in dedication to like raising children and, you know, supporting the house and all these things, right? But it also, you know, there is that same weight on men in a very different way. And, you know, it like, so regardless of whether you're dealing with a man or a woman, you know, I'm getting a strong, like responsibility to the parent or parents, you know, like, I need you to help me, or I need you to take care of me, or even the energy of you are an extension of my ego, so I need you to be successful so that I can feel successful. I need you to make me proud so that, you know, I can have that feather in my cap. I earned it, I deserve it, you know, kind of energy. It's a lot of outside pressure here. And I mean, this can be from so many places, right? But it can even be from friends. I am getting that strongly from friends too. But it feels like people who are incapable of being responsible for their own lives, who have somehow used this person to be responsible for them, you know, however that falls, whatever that looks like for you. Codependency, there's some toxicity there. And I think that this person realizes like their luck was changing, their fortune was changing. Like, you came into their life and you showed them that like relationships are give and take. They're not just take. And that they don't have to just give, that they can be given back to. And I think maybe you were the only person who had ever, or in the way in which you had given to this person without an expectation of something in return, or without an expectation of, you know, I'm not sure. It's weird because my mind, like, I got directed into this energy of, you know, when something feels good, you know, it's this, it keeps showing me our feelings inside. And when, like, our feelings, when we have shaky, unstable, you know, feelings of anger, feelings of sadness, feelings of depression, feelings of those things, it's like we look outside and we're like, what can I change quickly so that I can stop feeling this way? And when we're happy, and it's showing me like feeling good, feeling loved, feeling, you know, like all these positive energies, it's like the thought that we have is, don't get too comfortable, like this is going to end. So it's like you're getting kind of almost like no reprieve, or it's also giving me this vibe of when something feels good and you don't have to do something about it, you don't have to take an actionable step to make yourself feel better. You sometimes take it for granted, or you don't even realize like what is causing it, and you know that it is something that you want to really take care of and, you know, give more to. I mean, Jesus, like, oh gosh, guys. First of all, two cards of Pisces. Some of you may be dealing with another Pisces. Some of you may be dealing with a fire sign with that King of Wands energy. Some of you may be dealing with a Gemini with the Lovers. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is all the fixed signs. Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. But there is this energy, right, where, you know, the moon is being clarified by the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups for me is that authenticity, that spot within ourselves where we are truly authentic, where we're not wearing a mask with ourselves and we're not wearing a mask with the other. It's like, I am genuinely telling you this from my heart. You know, there is no mask here. There is no, this is as authentic and as real and as vulnerable as I can get, you know. I may not be good at it. I may not have practice at it. I may, you know, it may just be a very, very small space, but I am sharing it with you. I am revealing it to you. And with the moon card here, it's like, this person didn't do that. They covered it up. With the Lovers here and the Two of Cups and the King of Wands, I mean, hello, this is like a serious soulmate connection, but it's also one where, you know, I think this person actually really wants this connection now. I think that in their head, when you came along, it was nice, it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was something that put a smile on their face, it was something that they looked forward to. But when it became something that put pressure on them or asked them to make another decision, then it just joined all the rest of the stuff. They just lumped it into everything else and was like, this is too much pressure. I can't make up my mind. I can't think about the things I need to think about because there's just too much happening here. And then their decisions reflect that. They sort of set fire to everything. It's like a, you know, full-on fire. On the bottom of the deck, you have the Hangman, which is like, I'm looking back at this and I'm processing it. I'm analyzing it. I'm saying, what went wrong? What happened in order to cause this? Where did I not see something? And in that process, they're becoming really enlightened. They're learning a whole lot. They're seeing things much more clearly and they're getting a completely different perspective on it. I think this is the energy where it hits them that you have the wrong impression of them. And it's because they never really did reveal their true self. And I think that's because they didn't ever really even have the chance to really understand how important and special this connection was and what it was actually doing to them and what kind of opportunity it actually was. This person could have said something cruel. We have the King and Queen of Swords coming out with the Six of Pentacles. So this is definitely giving me a very clear picture here. I feel like, Pisces, you may have said to this person, like, I need to know where I stand. I need to know where this is going. I need some clarity in this situation. And I feel like this person was just, they were really out of alignment. They couldn't be open. They couldn't be honest. The King of Swords in reverse can actually somewhat be cruel. And I also got that with that Thug card where, it's like someone who may normally have patience or may normally, be in alignment or at least in better alignment or, be able to see things, more clearly. They were confused. There was just too many things on their plate, and it came out in this conversation, whatever this is. The Queen of Swords can be an ultimatum, or that type of energy where it's like, I know what I want, I know what I need, I know, da-da-da-da-da. And this person, you catch them in a moment where they're feeling really upside down in their life, or they are upside down in their life. And you're not going to like the response typically that people give you, anybody, when you're backed into a corner and you feel like things are really out of control, you're not at your highest and best, and your response is going to reflect that. That's why we have to try so hard to stay in the center of the Wheel of Fortune, right? So that we're always kind of grounded and centered in our own energy, and we're not so susceptible to riding the roller coaster of the external world and all the circumstances and pressure that it puts on us. So this came down to a give and take. This came down to reciprocity, and it came down to wanting and needing the same things. And I think the Queen of Swords was like, I have a very clear idea, a clear picture of what I need and want, what I'm willing to give and what I'm looking for, what's in alignment with me. I've given you an opportunity to show me this, but you're maybe not committing. or you're maybe not showing up anymore the way that you were, or maybe it's not enough. Maybe if this is going to carry on, or if I'm going to allow my emotions to get involved, or this is where I draw the line and I can't stay detached anymore. I'm starting to develop feelings, and I need to know, are you feeling that way too or not? You know, this person, I think their response was just off the rails a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Man, you got the Knight of Wands. I mean, yeah, you got the Knight of Wands in reverse, clarifying the King of Swords in reverse. So this is someone who does not feel free to follow their desire, to go after what they desire. This is also someone who, you know, when they start to feel like out of alignment, or like things are not working in their favor, it's almost like, I'm going to shut the whole house down, or I'm going to burn the whole house down. I'm not, you know, it's kind of an aggressive action. It's sort of giving me, it's like, you know, but it's not in alignment at all with them following their desire. It's not at all, you know, them pursuing their passion. It's kind of like, let me just take everything off the table. It's like needing to use a butter knife and using a chainsaw instead. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna get rid of a lot of stuff that you didn't really mean to or want to get rid of. You're just, it's like, I keep getting the energy of just like being backed into a corner and needing to get out of it and taking kind of a drastic measure there. But with the Queen of Swords being clarified with the Ace of Wands, it's like, you know, the Queen of Swords knows what she wants, and she sees the opportunity, and she wants to seize the opportunity, like take advantage of it. This Six of Swords even says leaving behind, moving forward, distance ahead. And the Six of Swords is really like moving from choppy, rough thoughts into calmer ones. But this is giving me this vibe of like, oh, okay, you do not need to tell me twice. And it feels like silence. It feels like falling into the abyss. It feels like no more, nothing, gone. And you have two sixes. So there is this not being in alignment sort of energy where, you know, you can see that there is the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords, a divine pair, but they are not headed in the same direction. So there's this moving away, leaving behind. Obviously, we're not on the same page. I need to go find someone who is, or I need to, you know, figure this out myself. Yeah, so there was a conversation that did not actually bring clarity or success to the situation. This person held back. They may want to come in and apologize with this Page of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, with the Six of Cups, yeah. They can't stop thinking about this connection. And it's like they want to turn back around and like offer something or see if there's any potential here. You can see this person was like drowning in something. They may have even had like financial concerns or financial worries. You can see they were just losing their grip here. And so when this conversation happened, there was no real possibility. This person wasn't even focused on this. This person was, you know, focused on these other things over here. And so their truth didn't come out. They held back. Yeah, they're seeing it now. It caused the ending. I mean, this, and wow, darn. Look at the Queen of Cups, so sad. Oh, Queen of Cups is like, why does this always happen to me? I just got that so strongly. Breaking my heart. But wow, look at this. Underneath it, the Queen of Pentacles. Rediscovering my worth and my value. Coming back to myself and being like, just because someone else doesn't see my worth or my value doesn't mean that it's not there. In fact, I know it's there. It's inherent. And so there's this rediscovery of self, this re-solidifying self that's happening here, which I'm thankful for because that broke my heart. But yeah, this person is realizing their behavior and they realized what they were focused on and that they were not even paying attention to this almost. They didn't give this the attention that it deserved, certainly. And that's what brought about the ending. I'm even getting like, I didn't even need to tell you what you wanted to hear. I just needed to be honest. And I wasn't. I think this person was moving slowly because I think in their head there were a lot of things associated with what commitment meant and what would be expected of them, and also the additional pressure that that would put on, and that it was something else to manage. With the Five of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, this is like saying that, you know, this person had a fear of not being good enough, you know, They had all those basic human fears that we have, and they sort of let that win. That was what was really driving this. I think, you know, I think this person was taking purposeful steps forward. I think that they did really care about this, and they did really, you know, like, they were investing. Like, it's not like they weren't giving anything to the situation. They were trying to do what they could, invest what they had in it. It was moving slowly because I feel like this person didn't feel they had a lot to invest, you know? I feel like they, you know, like I said, they just had their focus going in so many different directions, you know, that it's like, I'm giving this everything that I have to give something like this right now. And it may not be a lot, or it may be moving very slowly, or it may be moving more slowly than you would like. But it is moving in a solid and stable direction. Like, I'm lending it all the stability that I have, or I'm investing as much as I can in it. But there is also this looming fear of, even if I were to give it everything in the entire world, would it be enough? Side note, I'm just getting here, this person may have actually felt that you were physically more attractive than they were. They may have felt like they needed to come across impressing you. There may have been some ego involved here, for sure. Yeah, they definitely had a lot of ideas around commitment as well that caused a lot of fear and illusion. Like, what the expectation would be of them if they stepped into this role, if they... Yeah, if they made this commitment. I do think that this person, like, wow. Also, you have Taurus and Aries energy here. The Knight of Pentacles is being clarified by the Knight of Swords, where, this could be someone who typically moves pretty fast, who typically knows what they want when they see it, or else it could have been that they really came on strongly, or that they like picked you out of a crowd almost or something and sort of let their intention be known. They were sort of assertive or very direct in the beginning, and then put the brakes on, slowed way down. This could have been very confusing. I think that they're sort of seeing that is part of what's contributing to having given the wrong impression. I also feel like they're sort of realizing there's something here about like that being somewhat immature, the way that they came at you, the way they approached you, or the way that they came towards you, like that it was wrong. Or it could have been fast and then slow, like push pull, or inconsistent. I'll just say inconsistent. So like they may have left you with this impression, like they're looking at their behavior. I swear they're looking at their behavior like, what in the world? Like they're just realizing how many inconsistencies they showed you, and how they may even understand how when you had this conversation, it was like, I don't feel like you gave them a second chance. I feel like you sort of like moved away from them with that Six of Swords. You sort of left them behind and moved forward. And I don't think they were expecting that. I feel like they didn't really think that you would just go, oh, okay, bye. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they thought that maybe that you would chase them, or at least that you would still remain accessible to them, or you would still be willing to possibly talk to them. And it's kind of like you didn't. And I think that part of what they're processing is, why didn't you? And I think that part, the part we always focus on first is, what impression did I give that person, not who is that person. I think you didn't, Pisces, because you know your worth and your value. And I think that you recovered that. When I saw the Queen of Cups with the Queen of Pentacles underneath it, it's like, oh no, like at first I was sad. I felt, I was just like, oh man, why is this always happening to me? That was the feeling I got from that card. And then underneath it, it was like that net that catches you. That's like, hold on a minute, I deserved a hell of a lot more than I got right there. I'm not sacrificing my worth or my value or lowering my standards to just like let this person steamroll over me. You know what I mean? Or have their own way, or to treat me how they feel they should be able to. Hell no. And so, it's like you recovered quickly. But I don't think they're looking at it from that perspective quite yet. It's kind of like they're looking at their own behavior and being like, oh man, I rushed in there. I made my intentions be known. I said, I was very clear that I was like coming for them, or that I was being assertive or very direct. Because I was really motivated to spend a lot of time with them. And then when it started getting serious, when love started igniting, when I started having feelings, and when coinciding with that, all these things started swirling around in my life, and I started to feel like I was losing control, I put the brakes on, I was moving super slowly. Then I kind of let my fears and my illusions around, commitment and what that meant, and my fears about myself and my insecurities about myself sort of take over. And with the King of Swords, this is definitely someone who's seeing it clearly. They're logically and analytically processing it, and they're seeing it very clearly now, and their own behavior and the effect their own behavior had, and why that would have made it so you would have cut them off so cleanly and so clearly when that conversation happened, that where it was exposed that you were on totally different pages, even though that really wasn't the truth of the matter. You have the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. This person is like, I got to take control back. I've got to step into my highest and best power. I've got to look at these insecurities and face them. I've got to, I got to make this right. I have to start making decisions that reflect the best of me, and the part of me that, wow. that knows how to make decisions in the highest and best. Okay, gosh, this reading is getting really long, but it's very interesting. Okay, so you have the Three of Swords with the Death card here, and then you have the Page of Cups and you have the Five of Cups. This person is really in a hell of a lot of regret. You know, I think they're starting to realize that the death was really that they weren't authentic, that they didn't trust this really sweet part of their heart that was awakening, and that was responding to, you know, this, to Pisces. And I feel like they lost it, the sweetest thing. They lost it, and it has caused a lot of pain. It has caused a lot of suffering. And through that suffering, I do think this person does want to have a rebirth. And I do feel like they do understand that they need to apologize and express this regret that they have now that they processed it, now that they understand it, now that they know where it went wrong. It's like they want to come in and kind of say to you, man, I'm sorry. This is where it went wrong. This is what I did. This is how it was. Okay. Wow. Okay. Damn. All right. So, now through this death and through this suffering, you know, you don't just go through death and suffering for anybody, right? You know, not everyone can trigger that in you. We lose people all the time and we go, oh, c'est la vie, you know what I mean? When we go through these heavy duty energies, what does that tell us? It tells us how much that person meant to us. It tells us how valuable that person was. It shows us that that person wasn't somebody that we were actually willing to lose. That losing that person meant a lot more than losing a couple text messages a day. It meant suffering. It meant having to really look at ourselves in a way that, you know, was transformative. And not everyone can do that to you. Not everyone brings that out in you, right? And so this person is starting to understand your value. And it's, you know, they're also understanding that you know your own value, and that, you know, you recognize that they were not treating you the way to your own value. And with this person, with the Page of Cups being clarified by the Five of Pentacles and the Justice, they're realizing that they left you out in the cold, almost like the way that they left themselves out in the cold, right? By not admitting their truth, by not even being authentic with themselves, by not acknowledging, man, I'm starting to have feelings here. And so there's a lot of change and transformation here happening right in this energy of the new moon in Cancer, I'm going to call it. You have these 2 5s and you have this Death card, and we've seen a few references to the Tower card. All of this is happening so that this person can kind of start over in a way that's more empowering, so that they can understand their own power and that they have the capacity to make decisions autonomously for themselves. And that if they step into their own power and they go after the thing that they want, that was making them feel good, the only thing I feel like that they want to resurrect from this entire time is you. And it seems as though they're trying to find the energy within themselves, the strength and the fortitude and the empowerment within themselves to actually act upon it. All right, if you're dealing with a water sign, you're getting excited. I want to talk to you. Angry. The changes are real. You will always be my secret love. If you are dealing with a fire sign, I've been having weird dreams about us. daydreaming, fantasizing. I regret how I handled things before. You've changed my whole direction. I am overcoming my fears, annoyed. You're dealing with an earth sign. Suddenly, all the songs I hear are about you. Triggered. I'm afraid to trust. I am trying to figure things out. Wishy-washy. I remember everything you said. If you're dealing with an air sign, I am still moved by you. You are hard to forget. I miss you more than you know. Twin flames. If I had only known then what I know now, and I am overthinking everything. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps. I hope it brings you some peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I really do love to hear from you. And man, oh man, that reading really took a lot out of me. I was really searching. I was really reaching and going. All right, this is what I have for you. Gosh, guys, until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.